Canonsburg, Pennsylvania, November 1965. A Chevrolet dealer stands in his service bay at 2 a.m., watching his mechanics work through their 7th consecutive all-nighter. They're not fixing cars, they're building weapons. In 30 days, Don Yenko has to deliver 100 homologated race cars to the SCCA, or his entire program dies before it starts. The cars taking shape under the fluorescent lights aren't Corvettes, they're Corvairs, the same economy compacts Ralph Nader was busy destroying in print. And within 2 years, these bizarre rear-engine machines will embarrass everything General Motors' own engineers thought they knew about building fast cars. Don Yenko was not some backyard mechanic with delusions of grandeur. He was a 2-time SCCA national champion, winning the B production title in 1962 and 1963. Behind the wheel of Gulf Oil Corvettes, his co-driver was Dick Thompson, the legendary flying dentist. His sponsor was Grady Davis, vice president of Gulf Oil. When Yenko spoke about performance, Chevrolet listened. But by 1965, listening wasn't enough. The Corvette had grown bloated, adding hundreds of pounds since its racing prime. Carroll Shelby's Mustangs and Cobras were humiliating GM's flagship on every road course in America. Yenko later admitted he got tired of staring at the rear bumper of Mark Donohue's Mustang. He approached General Motors with a proposal: build a factory-supported race car to take back the circuits. Management refused. Worse, they had implemented a corporate ban on engines exceeding 400 cubic inches in anything smaller than a full-size car. The Corvette was exempt. Everything else was neutered by decree. The message was clear. GM would protect its halo car by handicapping its own lineup. Yenko could have accepted defeat. He could have switched to Ford, like so many others. Instead, he found something buried in Chevrolet's own ordering system that would change everything. The Corvair was the last car anyone expected to become a weapon. Rear-engined, air-cooled, and currently being eviscerated in Ralph Nader's unsafe at any speed. It was GM's economy compact for budget-conscious families. But Yenko saw something else entirely. The second-generation Corvair weighed just 2,200 pounds, roughly 500 pounds lighter than the Corvette. It featured fully independent rear suspension with 4 U-joint half shafts. The rear weight bias mirrored the layout Porsche had been exploiting for years. This wasn't a liability, it was an advantage waiting to be unlocked. There was one problem. The SCCA classified the Corvair as a sedan, not a sports car. It couldn't compete in production racing without modification. Yenko proposed a solution: remove the rear seats, upgrade the engine, brakes, and suspension, remanufacture the Corvair into a 2-seat sports car, and call it the Stinger. The SCCA tentatively agreed, but their rules required 100 production examples for homologation. And if Yenko wanted to race in 1966, those cars had to be completed before January 1st. He received final approval on November 1st, 1965. 30 days, 100 cars. Yenko's mechanics worked around the clock, every single day except Christmas, converting Corvair Corsas into Stingers. The base engine produced 140 horsepower. Yenko offered 4 stages of modification. Stage 1 delivered 160 horsepower. Stage 2 pushed 190 horsepower. Stage 3 reached 220 horsepower. The most extreme configuration, Stage 4, extracted 240 horsepower through 10.5 to 1 compression, ported heads, a performance camshaft, and 4 carburetors feeding the flat 6. But power meant nothing without control. Yenko fitted each Stinger with something revolutionary for a Chevrolet product, the first dual-circuit brake system ever installed on a GM vehicle. He sketched the aerodynamic body modifications himself, using cut-up pizza boxes as templates. The results looked crude. They worked beautifully. The 1966 racing season answered every question about the Stinger's legitimacy. Jerry Thompson won the Central Division Championship. Dick Thompson, the same flying dentist who had dominated in Corvettes, captured the Northeast Division title. By 1967, Jerry Thompson sealed the National D Production Championship at the Daytona American Road Race of Champions. The irony was impossible to ignore. Corvette's most accomplished drivers were now winning national championships in economy cars. Therefore, Yenko had proven his point. But the Corvette's days were numbered. Chevrolet discontinued the Corsa line in 1967, and Yenko needed a new platform. The Camaro had just launched, offering exactly what he wanted, a lightweight pony car with genuine performance potential. There was just one obstacle. GM's 400 cubic inch displacement ban meant the most powerful engine available was the L78 396, producing 375 horsepower. Respectable, but not dominant. Meanwhile, Chrysler offered the 426 Hemi. Ford was dropping 428 engines and 429 engines into Mustangs and Fairlanes. Chevrolet was bringing a knife to a gunfight. Yenko's solution was elegant in its absurdity. He ordered SS396 Camaros from the factory, then immediately removed the 396 engines. In their place went the L72 427, the same 425 horsepower big block reserved exclusively for the Corvette. With help from Dick Harrell and Bill Thomas, Yenko sorted the engineering required to shoehorn that massive engine into the Camaro's bay. The result was a street-legal monster capable of high 11-second quarter miles directly off the lot. Production was limited by the hand conversion process. Only 54 Yenko Camaros were built in 1967. Just 64 followed in 1968. Each one represented hours of skilled labor, removing a perfectly functional Chevy engine to install a different Chevy engine, all because GM's own policies prevented the obvious combination. Then Yenko found the ultimate loophole. In 1968, he approached Vince Piggins, Chevrolet's head of product promotions and the godfather of the Z28. Yenko proposed using the central office production order system, normally reserved for fleet vehicles and special equipment, to factory install L72 427 engines directly on the assembly line. Piggins agreed. COPO 9561 was born. For 1969, Yenko ordered 201 Camaros with 427 engines installed at the Norwood plant. No more dealer swaps, no more wasted labor. Factory-built 427 Camaros, delivered ready to dominate. Combined with COPO 9737, the sports car conversion package, these machines produced verified quarter-mile times of 11.94 seconds with slicks and open headers. The Corvette's own engine, in a lighter chassis, assembled on Chevrolet's own production line, outperforming the flagship by every measurable standard. By 1969, Yenko's operation had expanded beyond the Camaro. 99 Chevelles received the 427 treatment. 38 Novas, the smallest and most violent of the breed, followed. Each one carried the same Corvette engine that GM had deemed too powerful for anything but their flagship sports car. The implications were devastating for Chevrolet's engineering hierarchy. a small-town Pennsylvania dealer working entirely within GM's own systems, had proven that the Corvette's dominance was artificial, protected by corporate policy, not superior design. The pony cars and intermediates weren't slower because they couldn't handle the power. They were slower because someone in a boardroom decided they should be. The muscle car era ended before Yenko could fully exploit his advantage. Rising insurance premiums, tightening emissions standards, and the 1973 fuel crisis killed the horsepower wars. Yenko pivoted to the LT1-powered Deuce Nova in 1970, adapting as he always had. Don Yenko died on March 5, 1987, when his Cessna 210 crashed during landing near Charleston, West Virginia. He was 59 years old. Today, original Yenko Camaros command prices exceeding $500,000. The COPO program he pioneered became Chevrolet's template for factory drag racing builds, celebrated with a 50th anniversary model in 2019. Don Yenko never set out to embarrass General Motors. He just wanted to win races. But in doing so, he exposed something the corporate hierarchy had buried for years: that a 2,200-pound Corvette or a factory-neutered Camaro, given the right engine and the right modifications, could destroy the car GM spent millions convincing America was the pinnacle of performance engineering. If this story proves anything, it's that speed doesn't care about boardroom politics, and neither did Don Yenko. Subscribe if you want to see more stories about the rebels who rewrote automotive history by refusing to follow the rules.